Hello, hello, lovely moonbeam dreamers. Welcome to the weekly energy weather report, where we use the stars to navigate the week ahead, and we utilize sacred practices like the cards, like crystals, like tuning forks, many modern and ancient techniques to help you live the life that you were born to live. So, as we are hopping on, say hello, let me know where you're watching from. It's always nice to know where you're tuning in from. And let's get into this. I'm going to invite you to place your hand on your heart because we are coming into this energy from the new moon solar eclipse. I had many of my clients contact me over the weekend. They were feeling uneasy, anxious. They just felt worried and they wondered why, like what's going on. And what I reminded them is that on a very primal level, we too feel the effects of the eclipse still, like our ancestors, even though we know the sun's going to come back because it was a solar eclipse and it was just partial. Most of us in North America couldn't see it, but the sun was covered at some point by the moon. It was going dark. And if you can imagine, before the knowledge that we have today and the technology, there's this concern, there's this primal fear of we're going to lose our source of heat, of warmth, of life. So, with that being said, it causes some ease and anxiety around the globe, around collective consciousness. So if you were feeling anxious, if sleep was a little bit odd, especially if you felt more tired than usual. I know for me, the fatigue hit hard, and new moons are introspective. This was also a very special new moon because it's the new moon in Aries, so it's considered to be the start of the astrological new year. It's an opportunity for you to make wishes and to essentially make a treasure map. It has the eclipse with it, which brings an extra special sauciness and sassiness. And I had my students, my Moon Club members, go through and create treasure maps to harness that energy. So if you are interested in that, there's still time to make your treasure map. And treasure maps are definitely different than something like a vision board, even though there's a similarity, because what we're doing is we're harnessing the energy of the new moon in Aries, and you're using this in a very intentional way. I weave in sacred geometry to help with this so that we are really setting an energetic tone and vibration, not just a bucket list of things that we're hoping come true, but we're starting to embody the energetic frequency of that which we want to attract or magnetize into our lives. So it's very fun. Still in the window. You can still make your new moon treasure map. Highly encourage you to do it because this is the week where you are going to be encouraged with that growing moon. And we'll talk about that more in a moment to take some action steps. But in the meantime, I'm going to invite you to bring your hand to your heart if you haven't. What this does is it allows you to come into your heart space. And when you're in your heart space, you live life much differently. We're not living just from the ego. You remember who you are as an individual spirit having this human experience. That is important because you're an individual. Ego is important, but you're not letting it rule all of your decisions. You're remembering love. And as you bring your awareness into your heart space, make a connection between the head and the heart. Maybe you imagine drawing a line like connecting dots from center of head to the center of the heart, essentially the sixth chakra with the heart chakra, the fourth. And when you do that, you're looking for balanced, divine right action between what you know, your logic, your analytical side, and what you feel in your heart to be true, where you access your inner knowing and your inner wisdom. And as you come into that space, I'm going to even encourage you to take an extra moment to ground. And as you take this breath, the hand on the heart, imagine beautiful green light from the tailbone going down through 6 layers of earth, through topsoil, subsoil, a layer of granite, a layer of fire, of crystals, of magma, to the very core and heartbeat of Mother Earth. And as you make this connection to the earth, anything that's in your space that isn't serving your highest, imagine like you're flushing a toilet and you just flush it. You flush it all down to the earth to be recycled into something of great beauty. Breathe. And as you breathe and you feel the stresses of the day, of the weekend, of the month slide off your shoulders, bring your awareness back to your heart and imagine you're standing underneath the sun and this beautiful golden wave of sunshine just washes over you, filling the spaces that you've emptied. that you've created. And breathe. So that's part of a system that I call the root flush fill that I put together. It's combining many different sacred practices and bringing my own flavor to it. If you'd like a more detailed version of it, I offer it as a gift. I just put the link up on the screen, irenamiller.co/get calm. And it's a 2-minute guided visualization that brings you back into your heart space. So before you make decisions, before you take bold actions, make sure you're present in your heart, that you're grounded. That way, outside influences, are not affecting you in a negative capacity. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this week. What I did was I pulled a card for us before we jumped on, because I like to take time to meditate. I look at the planets, the stars, and the heavens and what they're doing and what will be most impactful for you to know. Because there's always a lot going on, but we need to distill it into the most potent, actionable pieces of advice and guidance that can make a difference for you. And what came through as I was tuning in was this card, the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is about holding on versus letting go. And the more that I tuned into this week, knowing that we just had that new moon solar eclipse, which eclipses are here to shake things up. They're here to encourage us to let go, where we become complacent, overly comfortable. It's not broken. Why fix it? But it's not bringing us the fullest, brightest amount of joy that could be possible. Sometimes it feels like the worst thing in the world when we lose things. Maybe it's a physical item. Maybe, we were trying to get a car and it fell through. It was given to someone else. Maybe it was the job we were going after, or the job we had, or the relationship. When these things wiggle out of your life during an eclipse, that's because something even better and bigger than you could have dreamt of or imagined is waiting for you. But we can resist it. We can want to hold on, and we can hold on so tightly that we make ourselves really uncomfortable and sometimes even sick with worry, sick with anxiety, sick with fear. Like, oh no, the world is ending. If I lose this person, where will I be? Will anyone ever love me again? If this job disappears, what will happen? Like, how will I, get new work? Who's going to take me now at this point? It's, whatever it is, right? That inner critic starts to go, no, stop. Cancel, clear, delete. Breathe. Good morning, Chrissy. So glad you're here. Take that moment to ground. Do the root flush fill. Before you take any actions, before you let your mind go crazy into the bad neighborhood, the dark side of the moon, so to speak, breathe, ground. Get outside if you can. Moon's in Taurus today, so I'm going to talk about tips for that. But this card coming up really guided me down the pathway of looking at where we create sacred energy, basically sacred boundaries versus energetic walls. Because there's a fine line between the two where we're holding on. Hello, Julie, great to have you. That sacred boundary, healthy energetic boundaries, doing the root flush fill, that gives you good, strong, energetic boundaries versus energetic walls. The walls is where we just kind of block ourselves completely. It reminds me of, sacred practices do change over time. And that's why I say I teach both modern and ancient, because we're living in this space where we have more information, where we have honed and developed intuitive gifts to a certain state of being. So there's a new awareness of how these energetic practices affect one another. And even we're ready for the next level. And there were energetic practices in the past where they said to protect yourself, imagine yourself like surrounded by mirrors. Cancel, clear, delete. That's an old way to do it. It's not helpful because you know why? When somebody is projecting nasty, bad stuff to you, what happens is it hits the mirror, gets reflected back to them. Do they realize that that is their energy they're projecting onto you, all that nastiness and cruelty and meanness? No, they think it's you retaliating. So that was an old methodology, but as we refine our gifts, we realize there's a more skillful way I can handle this. So what you can do is imagine yourself in that golden bubble of light. That's one of the reasons I use the golden light to bring it down around us after we've cleared our space. It places us into energetic neutrality. So we can go into observation mode. If somebody is having a fit around us and they're getting red in the face and all blustery and everything's going to hell in a handbasket, if you imagine yourself, you're grounded first, ground, always first. If you learn nothing else from me, ground, and then we can fly. But we ground, we clear out the stuff and golden ball of light around yourself. You're in your golden bubble. What that does is it's like diffusing a bomb. It takes the anger of the people around you and like the old Looney Tunes cartoons where you take the thorn out of the big monster's paw and he turns into like a sweet little puppy dog instead of this evil monster. Similar thing. I've used it many a time. Don't put yourself in danger, please. But one story I share often is standing in the pharmacy line. What happened was I was standing there with another woman. I thought I'd go to the outdoor line because you think it'd be faster, shorter line. But we were waiting there for quite some time. And this guy came up behind us and he was getting very irate. And so he went up and he started banging on the glass and screaming. It was scary. I thought he was going to like pull a weapon of sorts. And I debated, like, should we leave? Like, I'm looking at this woman. Like, I don't know if this is safe. There was a car lot full of people. So I thought, well, maybe like they wouldn't do anything too crazy with this many people around, but I got scared. So what I did was I grounded because I didn't feel like I was in imminent danger at that very second, but it was getting close. Grounded, did the flush and filled with the golden light. And within seconds, this guy turned around and he's like, I'm so sorry. I am in so much pain. I thought coming to this window would be faster. I don't think I can stand another minute longer. I feel like I'm going to collapse. Oh my God, right? What a difference. So, so we don't know what's going on in other people's lives. We have no idea. It's like that analogy of the iceberg. You only see what's floating on top. There's so much more underneath. If we can be in a heart space where we're living from our heart, where we can have compassion, where we're grounded, where we go into that energetic neutrality, then we can still allow life to come in and we can still send love and compassion out versus setting up a wall, like where nothing's coming in, like, that's it, I'm done with the world, I'm angry, not letting it in, because you're blocking everything. You're blocking the blessings and the gifts as well as the harsh stuff. And so question comes up, how do you set boundaries with a friend that always speaks on drama and you don't even trust them and you may know that they're talking about you as well? Yeah, that's a great question, Jasmine, because here's the thing. If somebody's talking about other people around you, most likely at some point, if it isn't happening yet, they'll be talking about you around other people. Oh. What you do is do the root flush fill. Ground, flush everything out of your space. Imagine yourself in the golden bubble. The next thing you do, so this is the extra added piece that really makes a difference, is you bring your energy out of their space and you send their energy back to their angel. And I go into that in real detail in my big program, the Mastering Intuition program. If that's something that you're interested in, I haven't shared that in a while, but something tells me, you know what, let me just share that right now, because people are coming to the place where they're ready to develop their intuitive gifts and to take it to the next level. That website is irenamiller.co/EA. I don't currently have the doors open to that. I've just started a new group. But if you're interested, reach out to me and we can talk about it. Because here's the thing. Mastering your intuition, or really cultivating it and developing it, enables you to be in the world but not of it. We want to engage. We want to experience love. We want to engage with the senses. And yet at the same time, as a compassionate, empathic seeker like you are, if you're here listening to this, watching this, I know you're empathic. I know that you feel something more than just what you can touch, taste, and see with your eyeballs, but you're tuning into your sixth sense. And there's that curiosity. Why do I feel this way? Why are other people saying to me, don't take things so personally. It's not about you. But you feel it as if it is. You feel the pain of others. You take it on sometimes to the point where you end up with that ailment or injury. It's important to say, oh, I'm so tired of being taken advantage of, being walked over like a doormat. Because if you block the world out and you set up those walls, you miss out on life. You miss out on the friendships, the community. It's kind of like when people are like, I just can't people. That's it. I'm done. Hey, I get it. I'm an empath here as well. I like my quiet time so much, but it's important. We need one another. They say one of the biggest, most harmful things in this world is isolation, that lack of friendship, that lack of community. And as an empath, if you're picking up on everything that's going on and you can't be there because you're overstimulated and you're hurting and you're in pain, then that's not good. That diminishes quality of life immensely. So how can you be in the world but not of it? These are the practices. You start with the root flush fill. Second one, pull your energy out of their space, send their energy back to their angel. Never send it directly back to them. It's kind of like a rubber band whack. They don't know it's their energy. It's in your space for a reason. Anyway, I'm talking very advanced energetic techniques right now. So if it doesn't make sense, check out the irinamiller.co/EA. And when the time is right, you can take it to the next level and develop those intuitive gifts even more. Okay, so with that being said, let's jump into this week. And by the way, if we haven't met, my name is Irina Miller. I'm an astrologer, a spiritual life guide, what I call an energy alchemist. And it is my joy to work with you, the curious empathic seeker, teaching you how to use these sacred techniques, both modern and ancient, to step into the life you were born to live. So we are talking today about sacred energetic boundaries versus walls, how not to block the blessings when you're trying to protect yourself. Because it's tricky as an empath trying to figure out the difference between a healthy energetic boundary and a fearful resistance of holding on and of hoarding, of not wanting to let go. So what we're going to do is I want to invite you to think of a boundary like a sacred container. Think of it as permeable, meaning like the energy can go both ways. It can go out, it can come in. And that golden bubble of light, once you're grounded, is the first way that you can begin playing with this. A sacred boundary honors your time, your energy, and your gut knowing, your intuition. So for example, if you're around someone and afterwards you just feel drained, oh my God, then you're like, you know what? I've got to protect my energy better when I'm with this person. Another little technique for that, which I teach my Mastering Intuition students, is you can use something, it's the Moon Journal, to protect your tummy. Just hold it in front of you. It could be your purse, it could be a clipboard, or when you're having a conversation, don't face tummy to tummy, but stand a little at the side. So Jasmine, this is another good technique. Stand to the side, or, use the best reason of all, get yourself out of the situation and be like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. I ate something bad at lunch. Nobody will deny you that chance of having to run to the bathroom because you really need to. That's another quick technique just to get out of a bad conversation. Sorry, got to run. I ate bad shellfish, ate bad tofu. You got to make it silly. You got to bring the laughter in, but covering your tummy. Why? Because the third chakra, that solar plexus, takes in a lot of the intuitive psychic data and it overwhelms you. So that's a great technique. We want to be able to have healthy energetic boundaries, still be able to have the conversation, allow the love in and allow the love out. When you feel fear creeping in, anxiety, maybe it's a fear of being energetically drained, judged, misunderstood, that's a sign that we tend to go from just protecting ourselves to withholding. I'm going to withhold, information. I'm getting so excited. Withhold information or withhold our own love. That's when that energetic boundary morphs more into an energetic wall. And the bottom line is that walls just don't keep others out. They can block your blessings as well. It's kind of like you deny yourself everything. So check in with yourself. These are a few questions to ask yourself as you're getting into this week post-eclipse. I want to combine words so much. By the way, have you guys listened to the telepathy tapes? It's a podcast. It's fantastic. If you've listened to it, let me know. This is like the work that we're doing, very similar in the sense that we're developing our intuitive ability to communicate and speak on a level that encompasses so much more data than just the words. And sometimes I feel like I just want to go there. All right. So questions for you this week. Are you saying no in order to empower yourself or because of fear? It's a big one. This new moon in Aries is encouraging you. This is a reset. The nodes, our destiny, our fate just went into Aries for the first time in 18 years, that North Node. It's saying, what are you going to do with your life? Where do you want to go? Be bold. This is an energetic reset. This is a chance to massively course correct and say, you know what? I was off track. I need to go to my destiny, my fate. Now, is this boundary you're creating, is it rooted in truth or old trauma? Kind of like I've had clients who had big agencies and they felt betrayed or it became too overwhelming, too much work. And they're like, oh, I could never do it again because burned me out, drove me into the ground. I felt taken advantage of. And it held them back from the blessings in the future. What they realized is that they just had to set it up a slightly different way, and they could still have that experience. So the invitation that's being asked of you is, are you willing to gently lower the wall? Meaning really it's a shift in how you're setting up your boundaries. So instead of the wall and isolating yourselves, are you setting up that nice, good energetic hygiene, like the golden bubble? Great place to begin. We can always go deeper so that something beautiful can come in. This truly is a perfect time to realign with that new moon eclipse, all the Aries energy coming in, because Aries is about identity. It's about being bold. It's about just do it, go for it, act now, think later. And the moon this week is also growing, and that's going to be helpful. So with that being said, let's talk about the overarching energy of the week. And what I mean by that is, what is the moon doing in its phases? Because that can affect energy levels. And we went from that new moon where you might have been extra sleepy into a growing light in the evening sky, energy builds. So we go from waxing crescent to the first quarter moon on Saturday. And so the idea is, with this moon, take little actions throughout the week to work towards your new moon intentions. And the goal is, with those little intentions, maybe you research, maybe you make an appointment, maybe you gather the tools you need to help you build that new moon intention or dream. And then Saturday, the first quarter moon, that's when you start to make some cuts. That's when you take a bold move. You're like, okay, I've gotten some information from my initial research back. I don't have time for this. I'll focus on this. Or I spoke with this person and I realized they're not the best resource at this moment. I'll follow up later. But any step you make, no matter how tiny it is, will make a shift. The idea is to trust your gut hunches, your inner knowing, your inklings, and really focus on aligned action over hustle. You're not just being busy to be busy, or like feeling anxiety, like I got to do something, let me just do this. You're taking a moment to do your root flush fill. Go to that irenamiller.co /get calm. My brain is much farther ahead than my mouth. And it'll help you do that practice. It's going to enable you to work with the energy of the week. Okay, let's talk about each day. I'm going to talk about the moon, and then we'll talk about a way that you can engage with that energy. So Monday, moon is in Taurus, very earth-centered energy, very, very grounding. So if you felt anxious over the weekend, hopefully now with the moon in Taurus, you'll feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit more present. If not, get outside into nature, place your hand on a tree. The idea is to slow down and reconnect with your values. Taurus moon likes to go slow. It's inviting you to tune back into what is it you value and treasure most. It's a very good day to check in with your body and ask, how do I need to feel physically in order to feel safe enough to move forward? So it's like, what do I need to move forward? And a quote is coming to mind, which is, this body has to be strong enough to fulfill my destiny. I think it was a workout quote from back in the day, but it's similar. Taurus is a very physical sign. It's sensual, meaning it wants you to engage your senses. They like to enjoy the finer things in life. So enjoy your meal. One of the yoga practices we would do is we would be very present as we ate food, and we'd eat in silence, and we just notice the texture of it in our mouth, or the smell of it, or the presentation, the way it looked. Did you ever see that movie City of Angels? And in it, Nick Cage, who played Nicolas Cage, I don't know why I call him Nicolas Cage, who, like I know him, who played the angel, talking with Meg Ryan's character, said, describe to me what a pear tastes like. And she describes it. And just, I loved just hearing that description. That's like a very Taurus experience. It's really, really cool. And let me pull a card for that. So just placing your hand on your heart, you're going to tune in. We're going to ask what's most important that you need to know for Taurus moon. 6 of Wands, celebrate your successes. Remember the wins. So as you're going into this week, this can be very helpful, because if something is shifting out of our life and we've been holding on to it, trying to protect ourselves, like, no, I can't let it go. I can't let it go. What will happen? Will I ever find anything as good? Yes, better. this or something better. Celebrate your wins. Recognize how far you've come because you have accomplished quite a lot. The Six of Wands is saying celebrate your wins, no matter how small they seem. All right, let's get into Tuesday. Could go on and on about that, but we're going to move on. Tuesday, moon is still in Taurus, and this energy really becomes about how do you protect your peace. Taurus, think of Sitting Bull. My husband's a Taurus, beautiful example of a Taurus. Knowing how to rest, how to be still and say, let's just protect the peace. Let's make this nice and enjoyable. Put on good music, good food, good people. Be mindful of those moments, though, where resistance might be disguised as comfort. Kind of like, oh, I don't want to get up. I'm really, really comfortable. One of the things with astrology, the way that they describe a certain aspect, the way the planets talk to each other, it's called a square, is it causes some kind of discomfort in order to make you take an action because there's something better and more wonderful waiting for you out there, or there's relief from discomfort, but we don't want to move. So I always think about like sitting on the couch, you finally get comfy, finally sitting down, maybe put on a good show, you've got your popcorn or your, chocolate in my case, cup of tea, and you have to go to the bathroom. It's like, no, don't want to get up. And you resist, but finally you can't resist anymore and you got to get up. So Tuesday, you might find yourself in those areas of life where you've been like, no, I don't want to go. This is comfortable enough, but there's something bigger and better waiting for you. Remember that not every no is a boundary. Some can be fear acting in disguise. So go back to your new moon intentions and ask yourself, what's one small step that you can take to move forward to creating your dreams, really co-creating. All right, and tuning in, how can you make the most of Tuesday's energy? We see who pops up. 5 of Cups. Let go of the old hurts and wounds and fears of the past. 5 is a transition point. It is the alchemical halfway point where we are like, I'm right on that tipping edge. I could go back to comfort or I could move forward to change and create, co-create something of beauty. But in order to move forward, it's like the burning bowl almost, or writing something on a piece of toilet paper and flushing it down the toilet. It's the releasing of the heartaches. It's the releasing of what didn't work for you. And I think about that movie, The Goonies. Love that movie. Let me know if that was one of your favorites growing up. And in it, they're going after One-Eyed Willie's treasure, and they end up basically at the bottom of the wishing well. And they discover, oh, this isn't the treasure. This is just a wishing well. And Sean Astin's character, he picks up a coin and he's like, this wish, this was mine. I'm taking it back because it didn't come true. What I'm going to say is don't take back your wish, release them to the earth. If you feel like there was a heartache where something didn't work out, it didn't come true for you, release the hurt to the earth. Allow it to simply pour out of you. And maybe it's something as simple as, just, and this is a very sacred tradition. It's kind of a little different. And I don't know why it's coming up in relation with this, but I think part of it is to build trust and faith with letting go. So there are some traditions, especially like with coffee, that before you take your first sip, you pour a little to the earth in honor of the blessings and in gratitude of what the earth has given us. And I'm so simplifying that. It's so incredibly beautiful. But maybe before you engage with something, you trust that I'm going to offer this to the earth. I'm going to pour out a little bit of my water, a little bit of my coffee, or I'm going to release the old so that I can welcome in the new, but recognizing with gratitude what the earth and this beautiful life is offering to you. Okay, so Wednesday moon is in Gemini. So Gemini energy is an air energy. It's an energy that lifts. It's an energy that wants to connect, to learn, to communicate. So great day for conversations. You might feel a little bit more open. Your mind might be going a million miles a minute. The other reason is that the moon conjuncts Jupiter in Gemini, and Jupiter is a planet of growth and expansion. And it's like, well, what about this? And what about this? And how about this over here? And what about that? You might just be overwhelmed with too much information. So again, boundaries versus walls. It's like, okay, I'm not going to block out all the information and put my head in the sand, but I'm going to practice discernment. And how can we practice discernment? Well, you're grounded, you root, you flush, you fill, you're in your beautiful golden bubble of neutrality. And you can welcome information in, but when it gets to be too much, it's like, no, I'm not going to have any of that. I'll welcome some of this in. Nope, that's too much for right now. I'll place it over here. I'll deal with it later. Maybe you write it down, use a journal, talk to a trusted friend. Maybe you speak it out loud. But clarity can come through processing through the throat chakra conversation. Okay, how to make the most of that Wednesday energy. I'm just tuning in. Okay. The Lovers card, hubba hubba. So Lovers card. So it's more than just finding, your beautiful soulmate. This is also a card about decision and choice and to choose wisely. The 6 energy, so 6 SIX, 6 for the lovers. It's about creative harmony. It's about finding divine right relationship between masculine doing energy and feminine being energy. So we're looking for a balance. We're looking for harmony. We're looking for what is the sweet spot. If you think about the athletes and they talk about the sweet spot or being in the zone. So if you were feeling overwhelmed with information and data coming in on Wednesday, and too much talk and conversation, balance it out with getting outside in nature or taking, so the moon in Gemini is an air sign. So maybe you feel like you need to, because for water signs, you might take a bath. For earth signs, you get outside, but maybe you go for a drive. Mercury rules Gemini, and Mercury is about vehicles. So maybe you go for a drive on Wednesday to clear your head. I hesitated with that because my moon is in a water sign. And so for me, I'm like, I don't know about you guys, but like, did you ever have people in your life like, oh, let's go for a drive, kind of like a Sunday drive? I'm like, no, I'm not a Sunday drive kind of person. Holy cannoli. So I was resisting that. It took a moment for that to come in. Not interesting. Okay, so let's talk about Thursday's energy. The moon is still in Gemini, and you might become inspired with some new ideas. Maybe you can reframe something that was old, but it's an idea to really maintain a flexibility. And what's really cool is on Friday, we have breakthrough energy coming through. So think of Thursday as the time to collect the data, the ideas coming in, even if they feel a little off the wall. You're like, okay, I'm just going to write it down. I'm not going to get stuck in over analysis. I'm going to just maybe hone in on one or two that I'm inspired with and just kind of take note of that because the inspiration will come on Friday. Or I mean, like the breakthrough. Okay, so how can you make the most of that energy? Temperance, balance. Interesting. There's a lot of balance energy coming up this week. 6 represents Libran balance energy. And we started with the 6 of Wands on Monday, which was success. Tuesday was the 5 of Cups. I don't know that I'll remember them all off the top of my head. But this Friday energy, temperance, you're looking for balance. So again, divine right relationship between the doing energy, the yang energy or yang. I was taught to pronounce it as yang, like yin and yang, as yin and yang. That doing energetic, fiery sun, typically masculine energy versus feminine moon, lunar energy, receptivity. We're looking for the balance. I always think of this too as the angels watching over you, good old Archangel Michael protecting you. So on Friday, that breakthrough energy that's coming through, well, this is for Thursday, isn't it? Holy cannoli, I'm getting ahead of myself. I really want to talk about Friday. So this is for Thursday's energy. Again, you're looking for balanced action. We're not looking to overdo it. So the new ideas that are coming in, we're just like, okay, that's a great idea. Let me take note of it. Let me write it down. I don't want to discount any ideas, but I'm not going to take action just yet. That really comes with first quarter moon on Saturday. Okay, let's talk about Friday because Friday just wants to be talked about. The moon is in Cancer, and a Cancer moon is very empathic, very, very big feeling energy. It can be a little bit emotional. It wants to be in a place that feels like home, feels like safety, maybe even be around family. You might feel a little bit of nostalgia. You might want to retreat from the world. Just give yourself some safe space and time to feel the emotions, let them move. Maybe that's the day you connect with water. My moon's in Cancer. Maybe you have some chocolate. Maybe you take time to connect with your family, your chosen family. But that Friday, that's when Saturn is sextile Uranus and Mars is sextile Uranus. They make a great little little triangle in the sky. I'll just kind of describe it that way. And so you've got Uranus at the point of the two energies of Saturn and Mars working together. Saturn is a responsibility, the tradition, the structure. Mars is the energy of like, let's go, drive, ambition, motivation, we'll do it. So Saturn and Mars are like, okay, we've come up with a plan. We've got a little framework. We've been practical, down to earth, got the energy to do it. And then it all comes out through Uranus, which is eureka, breakthrough moment. So the tiny little steps throughout the week, keeping yourself in balance, in harmony, can lead to a breakthrough experience on Friday. Just make sure you're in a place where you feel safe enough to have that breakthrough. Because sometimes we might be in places where we feel like, again, energetic boundaries versus walls, where we've got to kind of wall ourselves up. You know, there's also crystals that we can tune into to help protect our energy. And I don't have the hematite right. Well, I won't reach for it. It's over there a little bit. But hematite's a crystal. That's a really nice protective energy that still lets other energy in. It's not quite as heavy as some of like the totally dark crystals, which tend to block everything out because we want the light to come in. Okay, so how to make the most of Friday's energy with the moon in Cancer. Temperance came up again. Holy cannoli. Maybe I knew Temperance wanted to be there for Friday as well. So we're being reminded that you've got that angel watching over you and encouraging you to keep things in balance, in harmony. Okay. So Saturday is a first quarter moon. The moon is in Cancer. And you might find, you think of this kind of like a pivot point where you've gathered information during the week. You've gotten the ideas, maybe an overwhelm of ideas on Wednesday, and come Saturday, that's kind of like where things get placed on the cutting block. They make it to the cutting room floor, where you're like, okay, this was a really cool idea, but maybe not now, or maybe not as a part of like the first phase of this project. I'm going to park it over here in phase 2 or phase 3. Or maybe it's like I need more information, and that might hold me up from making any progress on my path. So you just park it. It's the idea where your emotion, the Cancer energy, where the moon is, meets the momentum of that first quarter, that decision-making process. Even if it feels a little scary, even if you're like, I don't know if I'm really ready, the moon is encouraging you, the energy of the planets and the stars are encouraging you to make some kind of move. Again, think of it as aligned action, not just hustle. You're not just doing to do. You're grounded, you're in your heart space, and you're taking intentional, action-oriented movements. You don't have to feel ready, you just have to be aligned. So let's go ahead and we're going to pull a card. How can you make the most of this energy? 10 of Swords. So know when to walk away. You know, so there's that idea of sunk cost. Sometimes we stick around with something or someone or hold on to physical items because we're like, it was so expensive. I bought this thing. I can't let it go. I'll use it one day. Or I've got this program and I didn't pay attention to it at all. But oh, surely I'll just renew it. I'll get back into it. I will. Because here's the thing. Sometimes, you know, if we didn't do it the first time, how likely are we to really get into it again on the second time? Or if you didn't wear that outfit because it just kind of pulled a little funny at your hips or across your chest, but you're like, no, I could style it differently and it's too late to return it. And you're like, no, it was expensive. And you feel badly, maybe some shame or regret about making the investment or the purchase. It's just saying, know when to walk away. It's okay. It's okay. There's light on the horizon. Let that bless someone else's life. It might not have been the best fit for you, or maybe it didn't work out, but just let it go so that there's room for someone else to experience it. I need to hear that. All right, Sunday. So, and that's, you know, we're making the decisions at that point. How? So ask yourself with Saturday, what action feels both brave and nurturing? And do it, because you got this. Sunday, Leo moon, a great hair day. So Leos always have such great hair. They're lion and lioness manes. It is time to shine, my beautiful moonbeam dreamers. The Leo energy does want you to be seen. It wants you to be heard, celebrated, visible. Leo energy is about stepping into a role of leadership. It's saying, okay, let's get out of that Cancer moon energy, out of the cocoon, out of the kind of like nestling down at home and burying in the sand. Let your light shine. Be seen, see and be seen. do something creative with your energy on Sunday. Maybe you decide you want to take a step towards one of your new moon intentions. Maybe you just dance, you sing, maybe you go see live music, or you just simply have a good time with your family and friends. But joy is the ultimate medicine. Okay, how to make the most of Sunday's energy. And just tune in and ask. See, oh, there we go. One really popped up. Queen of Wands, look how joyful she is. She is the just do it energy. She's fiery. She's playful. She's got the light in her palm that she's bringing forward. She's a generator of light, and she's got light all around her that she inspires from her own inner light, her joy. So have fun, be joyful, get out there, just do it. Very entrepreneurial, engaging energy. And you're going to find that the week can be quite inspirational with the ideas that come in. But ultimately, I'm going to encourage you, check your foundations, which means ground, root. Because when we're grounded and we're rooted, we feel safe and we're more willing to let go of the things. We're more willing to move out of resistance and into engagement. I'm going to encourage you to lovingly ask yourself, where have you been holding on too tightly? Where can you soften and trust a little bit more? You're not being asked to break down every wall that you might have put into protective place, just to kind of peek over one, look around it, see what's on the other side, play with that golden ball of light energy, because you might be surprised at the gifts and the beauty that's been just simply waiting for you. Those gifts of grace that are offered to you, but you with your free will have to be willing to receive them. So if this has resonated with you, these sacred practices, our time together, please make sure you like this video. It helps out so much with the algorithm. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you being here with me live and in the replay. Make sure to subscribe. That way you get the notifications when I go live. Do share this with others. Let's share this inspiration and light. I'm so grateful for you. And let me know in the comments too, are you working with sacred boundaries or noticing energies like those energetic walls that are willing and ready to shift? So you are doing beautifully. Make sure to trust your vibes, to follow your heart. And I will see you here next week, live Mondays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I just want to say hello to Hannah. Thanks for jumping on live. And Jasmine, oh, congratulations on the new job. Oh, this is wonderful. All right, I will see you all next week. Have a fabulous week. Much love to you. And again, trust your vibes and follow your heart. Mwah. Bye, guys.